online? Yes, we are.
We are not. Are we? Yes, we are.
Hey everyone, today is Thursday, April 18th. We just tried some new technology. It's kind of crazy. We are here for Actifio On-Tech. I feel like I've been out for a long time.
I feel that way too.
So I'm happy to be back with my boy Giovanni and my boy
Murph Dog. This is my first time sitting next to Gio for On-Tech.
Oh, here's Jason. Jason, we didn't think you were coming.
Oh, wow.
Moving on over, we have Jason joining us. We didn't think he was here.
Okay.
We're sliding.
I'm gonna cause a fire with these lights.
I love how this guy never wanted to be on camera ever. Now,
Yeah, I know. He's on all the
All you're
time.
going to do is whine about it. I'll switch.
All right. Oh, okay,
I have a much
Gio.
better face for TV anyway.
Oh, I see. All right.
Face for radio and a voice for books.
There you go.
Whoa!
So, our beer today, courtesy of Mr. Pat O'Donnell, who was part of this show a few months ago, is the Space in Between from Lawson's Finest Liquids.
I love the logo.
I know, it's pretty cool. It's like a black hole, very fitting, because there was that photo of black hole last
Well, we
week.
talked about it all last week on Actifio On-Tech. Jay, if you watched, you would have known.
Sorry, I was traveling. The description is an ale without definition.
Okay.
Blurry and green with the depth and form unclear, this beer resides in the space in between.
Well, Jay, why don't you crack it open and we'll see what's.
Well, I need to make sure I'm doing it properly because
don't
I've
you
gotten in
flip it
trouble
upside down
before.
slowly?
Are you supposed to roll it?
Just
Are you
flip
supposed to
Roll it, flip it, kiss it,
an IPA?
all those things.
Huh?
Is this an IPA?
Well,
It's an undefined.
well, what does that mean, though?
Roll the thing. What is this?
I'm rolling it
Just
gently.
flip it upside down.
Handy.
Flip it upside down and you're done.
I'm just bitter because I can't drink it.
That's it.
All right, here we go. Open.
Shake it and pour it towards Murph.
Yeah, nice. Nice. So, Jason, maybe you want to start? Do you have some stuff today? I've got a few if you don't.
Of course I do.
Excellent.
Well prepared. Last week I was not well prepared. This
Okay,
week,
well, we never know. It's been a busy week for all of us, so I wasn't sure.
God, it's madness here at Actifio right now. It's just insane. So the first thing I have, because
Oh, I know what this is.
I'm
I
a
saw your
huge
screen.
fan. Mentioned it last week. Game of Thrones season 8
back.
premiered last Sunday. I watched it. You watch it?
I did.
Yeah.
No.
You didn't watch it.
watched it
Gio didn't watch it
Monday.
either.
I don't have HBO. Smells good.
Well, apparently you don't need HBO because my first topic is that it was pirated almost 55 million times in the first 24 hours after it was released.
Oh my
So
god.
you don't need HBO to watch it, Gio. That's a perfect segue.
That's illegal. Who would do
Let me start
that?
watching it in the season 8.
How many subscribers to HBO are there?
Good question.
I think just Jason.
So HBO saw a total of 17.4 million views across its 3 platforms, which is TV, streaming services, right? TV and streaming services.
Wow.
So pretty
That
good.
is unbelievable.
17.4 million people had to pay for HBO to
Yes.
watch this show. And this doesn't include all the people that have HBO that pay for it that didn't watch it.
Sure.
Because there's obviously a percentage as well.
But there's a lot of people that-
17.4 million people watched the premiere on a pay platform.
And 55 million people presumably did BitTorrent or something.
Yes.
That was just one
Right.
tracker, probably. That actually kind of blows my mind.
Yep. So let's see. Web downloads for 12.2%, public torrents for 10.8%, private torrents for 0.5%. But 76% came from unofficial streams of the episode, which
Oh.
I don't know what
Oh,
that
really?
is.
So someone like puts a camera in
Live
front of the
stream.
TV maybe and just
You don't
shows
even
it?
need a camera. You
No,
can
you
just
just
get
live stream. And according to the data,
Oh, right.
the most part of views by country came from guess which country?
Russia.
China. Argentina.
America.
India. 10
Yeah,
million views.
really? I would not have thought about that.
Which is, but is speculated due to the fact that the difficulty of accessing the show there. China was second with about 5 million views because they only air a censored version of the show through the official channels. Right.
No dragons.
And the USA came in third with about 4
Is that
million.
what you
Oh,
call it?
really? Okay. Well, so I was way off the mark. Oh, well.
Here's dragon. I don't know.
But great show. First episode, a little slow.
Boring.
Well, a little slow, but you have to think about what was happening.
I don't need to
All
see
these
all the
characters were
reunions.
coming together
I don't
again.
need that.
Reunions galore.
No, boring.
Key critical information being told to Jon Snow.
Boring.
Lots of key things happening. Bran freaking everyone out with his weird stare, right?
I think that they are struggling to write the material, given that
Oh, you think?
they've far surpassed the books now,
Oh, I agree.
and
with you.
they don't know what they're doing compared to Mr. George. Unfortunately, he doesn't know.
But he doesn't know
finish a
either.
book, so
Right.
He doesn't know either. That guy's going to be dead before the next book gets released, So.
he got no argument for me.
Which is frustrating because I've read all the books. They're enjoyable. I love the show. But it's like, when this show took off 8 years ago, dude, you've been writing this book for like 20 years, the next one. Like, dude. Anyway.
So 5 episodes left.
That's it? Only 6?
Really?
Oh.
Some of them are long though.
And it's
But some
forever.
are
This is
an
the
hour,
last
20
season
minutes.
ever?
This is it.
This is it.
Yeah, this episode was only about 55 minutes, something like that. But the last 3, I think, are all an hour 20.
Gotcha.
Or something like that.
And that's because HBO, there's no advertisements, correct?
They have no advertisements.
That's correct.
And they have
Nice.
full control over their scheduling slots and all that.
A good point.
If they want to make it an hour and 30,
Good point. And it's not censored, meaning do they show more adult scenes and bad language and things because it's on paid TV?
So much new.
Game of Thrones, man.
I've never seen any of them.
Everything's
I
on the
wouldn't know.
table.
I know.
It probably, honestly, for your virgin eyes, may not be appropriate.
It might upset
but,
me terribly, Jason.
You
It
might
very
have
well
nightmares.
might. It very well might.
You might get fidgety in your seat thinking, ooh,
I know. Well, that is
Maybe they did
true.
that.
Look away. Look away.
Maybe just stay far away from it.
it's awesome, though. I'm telling you. It's so cool.
All right, so my one story I thought was noteworthy this week was: have anyone ever tried?
Did you print them out on paper and waste paper?
I printed
when you have
one.
a
I printed
computer?
only one.
Okay.
Did any of you try? Have you tried electric bikes? And they have them in. I was in San Francisco last week. They have them there. You can rent them and things.
Shout out to
Have you tried that?
David Chang, founder.
He has one.
Our founder.
he
one of
uses
them.
it regularly.
He
Co-founder.
does.
He has
does.
3 actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I
He
thought he only had one.
now has a very nice one.
Oh.
that he rides
I
regularly.
thought his one he had before was pretty nice, but I guess not
Yeah.
as nice as this one.
Well, you can spend a lot of money on an e-bike. You can,
I can imagine.
You can spend like $200 and get sort of the
Not a great one.
terrible one, but
The Volt of
Yeah.
e-bikes, not the Tesla of e-bikes.
Right, there you go.
Yeah, okay.
yeah.
So they have these e-bikes. So Uber and Lyft have their own e-bike rental programs, and Lyft's is called Jump. So there was a story this week,
How's it spelled?
JUMP, like you'd expect.
Boring.
I know. So Jump's
No Y's.
bikes supposedly were pulled off the market or off the street because they're rental, you don't buy them, because somehow you'd put the brakes on and they would go full brakes and wouldn't stop. So you'd be biking along.
They go full brakes, it wouldn't stop.
Then you go boom. They would you hit a little brake and it would slam on the brakes out of your control somehow.
Sounds like their self-driving car unit too.
That's cold. But that's bad because people getting hurt, right? Because jamming on the front brake while you're driving on a bike at fairly high speed is not a good strategy.
Why is there a front brake? Shouldn't there just be a rear brake for safety purposes anyway to prevent that?
Well, because when you hit the brakes hard, the pressure goes on the front wheel, not the back,
Well
right?
done, Jay.
That's why
braking hard,
cars
you
have
have no
bigger
traction.
brakes in the front than the rear.
That's right. Yeah. Now, it is true that if you're not careful, you're going to do too much.
But why are these brakes locking up? I don't understand.
That's understanding.
It sounds like they're controlled.
Why are they electrically
Yeah,
controlled brakes on these things?
I don't understand that either.
like they're
That's
trying
a
to be
fair
too clever
question,
for
and
them.
I don't know.
Put some disc brakes on it if you want to get fancy and go
Right.
there.
I don't know.
But even that's probably too expensive.
The other possibility, of course, is that people are riding a bike for the first time in 20 years, and they're going faster than they ever would on a normal bike because
Maybe.
it's e-bike,
Yeah.
and then they squeeze the
Totally.
panic.
And
But we'll see.
I saw guys shooting down the street there. We talked about these in the past too, those scooters, and I often wonder about the safety of those. That if you hit a bump or a pothole, I mean they don't have those there because they don't have the cold that we do. But still, when you hit that stuff, wiping out, not very fun.
Do they require that you have to wear a helmet?
No, they weren't wearing helmets. Most people weren't. You
What
should.
about on these jump bikes?
I don't know. I saw a lot of people not wearing helmets there either. They weren't wearing jump bikes. They were doing the normal pedal bikes.
Jeez, that's
but they
funny because
weren't-
when you ride a Segway, they usually make you wear a helmet.
Yeah, I don't know. It's strange, really.
You should have to wear a helmet.
You should.
So
I
should we
agree
call
with
this
that.
segment "Flipping Out Over E-Bikes"?
But I'm sure.
Dude, this guy.
I know. He's out of
Fire
control.
today.
Wow.
I know.
So did you rent a
That's
bike
why
while
I'm
you were there?
behind the
No.
camera.
I didn't. I've debated renting a bike or a scooter, but I never did either one. I just didn't go
The only
that
time I
far.
ever rented a bike was in Amsterdam because you need to.
Right.
You're in Amsterdam, and there's more bikes than people in Amsterdam. The wife and I rented the bikes and went north of Amsterdam across the fjord or wherever the heck the water is there, and they have where all the tulips are
That's cool.
and stuff. It's pretty cool.
Fair enough.
Talk about that story. I saw that story. I thought about bringing it up today, but I didn't have it on my list. It's a great
Hey,
one.
great minds
actually.
think alike.
I know. This is a great story.
Yeah, but it's Chris's turn.
Oh, sorry.
Well,
I have one.
I do have
My
one
apologies.
topic that we could talk about. Google Maps I don't know if anyone's noticed this recently, but they are rolling out more and more monetization of Google Maps.
Oh.
So a couple things I've noticed while driving, it'll come up and say, there's a Starbucks a 3-minute detour from your route. You want to add it? And it's like yes or no. And the default is thankfully no for now, but
Right.
I do wonder a day when it just
Takes you there.
Takes you there anyway.
Yeah.
Wait a minute.
The other thing that they're doing, which is more on the developer side, is they've hugely increased the pricing of embedding Google Maps and Google Maps services in other applications.
Really?
Which people have really gotten upset about because there isn't really a great alternative. There's OpenStreetMap, other things like that. But Google Maps is so far out ahead and everyone's developed these things. So now a lot of actually startups and stuff like that are suffering from those costs and may have to go out of business.
What does Waze use? Does Waze use Google Maps?
Waze is owned by Google now.
And they have their own map system, though, don't
bought
they?
Waze,
They're
yeah.
okay.
They bought it.
Because I've seen on Google Maps where there's an accident, it says Waze reported an accident. You know what I mean? So
they
it's-
started
yeah.
feeding in
Yeah.
the reports.
I
And
usually
actually,
use-
Maps is now letting you report things too.
Yeah, I've seen that.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I use Waze. It's okay.
I like
For the
Waze.
most part, it works. But like, for example, yesterday I had to pick up my son at his baseball camp, right? And Waze was telling me to go to a one way, but I thought if I go take this left instead, it'd be faster, and it was like 3 minutes faster. So because what I found is like once you're on a predetermined route,
It doesn't reroute a lot.
it does not reroute a lot. It will
That's
once
true.
in a while.
That's true. I agree
but it
with
does
you.
not do it to the frequency where you could maximize.
I agree with you.
Effectiveness of the route.
What'd you do with those 3 minutes in your life?
I know, that's right.
I used it to sit in traffic to go pick up my daughter. Actually,
Yeah. There you
to
go.
pick her up afterwards. So yeah.
A lot of driving.
So it was not good. 40 minutes to get from Natick to Hopkinton.
Wow.
Yeah, not good.
So I do see some ads like that for Waze. I've seen them for a while. They're like, have you seen this brand? And it's like Lowe's or something. And they're like, yes, no, whatever. I usually ignore it. But,
Yeah.
but
Well, I know with Waze, right, I see if I stop in traffic, they
Yeah.
pop an ad pops up.
right, yes.
I never really see the yes or no. So
Yeah.
but I did. But you do also see, if you're looking at it, you see like the mobile logo,
Yeah,
the
exactly.
Starbucks logo
Yeah.
for some of the businesses that
Right.
have started advertising with them.
Which hypothetically is not a bad thing.
No, it's
okay.
Just like
Yeah.
hypothetically ads in search aren't a bad
Right,
thing.
right.
It might be the right thing that you want to look for.
Right.
But it feels weird to all of a sudden have this like
It is true.
intrusion on.
I think ads are bad is when they're on like programming. I don't need ads to my programming. You know what I mean?
Which is why you like Netflix and HBO.
Exactly.
And DVR.
Yes.
That's right.
Well, now we get the ads in the show itself, right?
I know, that's true.
Placement.
But I like that because the marketing guy kind of like that,
Yeah.
right? You know, like EMC used to be huge about, oh, we've got a Symmetrics in 24, right? And all that stuff. We need to get Actifio on something.
You know, recently we rewatched a bunch of Marvel movies, and that was one of the things my wife noticed was this
The
huge
advertising,
references
right?
to Oracle and Exadata, and she goes, "Is that real?"
Yeah.
Yeah. 10 years ago, people were really
It's
into
true.
that sort
It's
of
true.
product. They don't do that anymore, that I've noticed
Right.
in the more recent ones,
No.
because they've got so much money.
Or cars, like didn't he drive like
yeah.
an Audi, one of those fancy Audis, and R8,
Yep.
I think it was,
Iron
or
Man,
something.
yeah,
Yeah.
And then all
Yeah.
the Shield agents all drove like the Suburbans or whatever.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, in Game of
Yeah.
Thrones, none of those. Which is
None of that.
no
Game of
cars.
Thrones.
Yeah.
I just saw Captain Marvel last week, and I'm wondering if there was any advertising. Captain Marvel was just cool because it was all like,
Blockbuster.
90s references to Blockbuster, for example. That was a good one.
Yep.
Yeah, I like that movie. It was good. I give that movie 4 out of 5 Avengers. That was good. Yeah, can't wait for
Next week we'll talk about.
Cannot wait
what's
for
coming next.
Endgame. Oh,
Wait on
so
that.
That's
excited.
next week, you said?
Comes out next
Friday?
week's on Tech,
Oh,
Same day.
and I'll be there.
you're going?
And I'll be here
Oh.
You're going the next day though, right?
Sunday.
Sunday.
You already bought your tickets?
Yeah.
No, you have to.
You can't buy them.
The day the tickets came out, AMC's website crashed.
Yeah.
It took like 3 hours.
Crazy that it's so popular.
They've sold-
I don't get that. It doesn't
They've
do it for
sold
me.
more pre-sale
fine.
tickets for this movie than all the Avengers and Star Wars movies combined.
Wow. What's it called again?
Pre-sale.
What's the movie called again?
Are you serious?
I have no idea. I don't know. Avengers Last something.
Dude, this is your last on tech.
Don't.
Yeah, you buy
I'm
it.
not an Avengers guy. I really
Well, you're not a
admit
Game
that.
of Thrones guy. You're not a
That's true.
What are you doing on this on tech? It's called On Tech. We're supposed to be nerds, and you don't watch Game of Thrones.
I am nerds in
Don't
other
know the
ways.
Avengers.
I am nerds in other ways.
Oh yes. I am a nerd in another way.
This guy's here for the beer. That's about it.
Quite clearly.
So it's called Avengers Endgame.
Wow, I
And-
can't wait. I'm so excited about it.
Oh, the salt!
Wow.
The salt is just piling up over here. It's so salty over
Jay,
here.
why don't you come up with another story so we can make fun of your story?
All right, good. No, I want to hear Jason's story. He's got a good one. I
Okay.
like it. Jason's story's a good one.
All right,
I'll give you a story.
This past
Thank you.
week, I know a lot of people were really affected and moved by what happened to Notre Dame, the Cathedral of Notre Dame.
I was.
It caught on fire, if you didn't know, allegedly due to some
In a bad way.
construction that was happening, remodeling that was happening. Most of it burned down in the sense of the fact that parts that were wood, the building's a lot of stone as well, the facade and the interior as well. But I know they were able to save the relics, which was great.
Yes.
People really care about those things, deeply the religious artifacts and items. But a lot of the spire got taken down, fell down.
Famous towers didn't.
Yep, that's right. So, but a lot of damage was done, and what I found interesting how this relates to Actifio On-Tech is that apparently the DJI, which is the how do I say?
Drone?
It's like the Director of Public Safety, like the DJI, whatever. DJI. They don't even tell you what it is. Anyway, they use drones to help attack the fire.
They use
So-
DJI brand drones.
Right, to track the progression of the fire.
right, which I think is fantastic.
These drones flew up. They
What a
were
great use.
DJI Mavic Pros and
Yeah.
Matrice M210 drones.
Like a Mavic Pro is one you can go buy at Best
Right.
Buy if you want it. Like it's a
Yeah,
mainstream
$1,000,
drone.
yeah.
Yeah,
What's
exactly.
Best Buy?
Yeah, exactly. Amazon for you.
All right.
Right, but so they flew
Yeah,
it's
amazing.
illegal in France to fly drones over all the sites.
Normally,
Right,
you wouldn't
right,
be able to
right.
do
You don't
that.
Right, exactly. You can't go fly your drone by the Eiffel Tower or by
Right, right.
the cathedral because they're big tourist areas.
Makes sense.
There could be they don't know what the drone's doing. It
Right.
could be dangerous, right? Things like that. But they removed that restriction for the fire, so the firefighters could fly the drones to track the progress of the fire. But they also used the Mavic Pro's visible light camera and optical and electronic zoom to do a little infrared
Makes
searching
sense.
of the flames and
I think
things like
it's a
that.
great
as
use
well.
They really use
technology.
infrared scanners.
No, I don't think they had. I don't
No,
think
they didn't use thermal cameras.
Okay.
Right.
But they did use the light visible light, and
Right.
optical and electronic zooms. So they
Right.
use zoom.
The next thing is they do talk about how future ones will have the thermal cameras.
Yes.
They'll bring
That
that
would be
for
really cool,
future.
actually.
I know.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But
Yeah.
that's
so they
huge.
say that there's a military version of the HoloLens, and Parrots has a new one for its quadcopter as well. So in the future, you can see firefighters using it with the thermal capabilities to see where the hot spots are, or if you think the fire's out, but you can go up
Right,
there and see
right.
where there's some heat signatures you want to put out more. What I mean. But so I thought that was interesting. So
Me too.
Obviously it was a big, major worldwide news event that occurred, and it was cool to see that they actually were using technology to help combat it.
So I read another story about that today, which is related but unrelated. Related in the context of robotic vehicles, but they actually had one that's sort of like the kind that you'd see maybe in Afghanistan that you use to go to the bombs to
Yeah.
try to that they actually sent one in that had a hose on it and everything into the church itself when it was still kind of burning and it was too hot. Humans couldn't go in. But this thing went in with its hose with someone controlling it so they could spray down inside the building to try to put it out, when it's too dangerous to get
Right,
people
right.
in there.
Yeah.
Which I thought was, again, another cool use of technology like the DJI that they were using. Like, really great.
Wow, that's impressive.
Kind of neat, huh?
And it paid off, I guess, saving.
I
Parts
saw
of
a
it.
picture of it and inside, and terrible. But I thought it wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. So
Given the videos at the
exactly,
time, yeah.
exactly. So I was really feeling positive about that. But that doesn't mean it's not. They said it could take 10 years to fix. I mean, it's a big deal. It's a really, really terrible thing. But maybe it's not as terrible. Maybe there's some of it still savable, more than you would have thought, which is, I know, fortunate. All right. So my story. Okay. So you have 3 choices. You can tell me what you like. Qualcomm,
Boring.
Strato launch jet, or a pig?
I feel like I'm being baited into saying pig.
Yeah, that's a loaded question.
So the pig story was really top of the headlines yesterday. I don't know if you saw this. So basically,
I did see this. I know.
Yeah, scientists decided they wanted to test about sort of the lifespan of a brain after a pig dies. So they basically had these pigs that were being killed anyway in a slaughterhouse, and they waited 6 hours. Then they took the pig and they wired it up to the brain only to this machine that put sort of blood-like substances in and various medications, one of which even kind of dulls the brain in case something happens. and that the brain, kind of part of the brain, areas of the brain, showed electrical activity, showed that they were still happening. And that was quite amazing because this is 6 hours after this pig was beheaded. Now, clearly, let's be realistic. Number one, they had medication, so it never could be aware because they were worried. They didn't want it to. If somehow something happened, it actually became aware and it would be bad.
Well, you create a pig zombie.
Yeah.
Huh.
And B, it wasn't enough sort of activity to think that like the pig would be alive and aware.
Okay.
But the mere idea that 6 hours after beheading this pig, that the brain could still have some functionality.
Some synapses are still firing there. Yeah.
It's like crazy. And there's some questions raised here I thought were good was, how long could they keep the brain going? I don't know. What if they didn't put in that medication that they put in to sort of stop the brain from being too active because they're afraid that, it might have awareness?
Reanimation.
You don't want that? Like, what if they didn't do that? Or what if they didn't wait 6 hours? Like, it's kind of crazy to think about that they're sort of reanimating. There's some ability to reanimate some tiny portion of that pig brain. But again...
And what will it lead to, right?
Yeah.
I agree.
So I thought that was sort of hard to fathom because one always assumes that, you die, the brain dies, but in fact it might last longer than people originally expected.
Well, I mean, you see that with like transfusions, right, or organ donation, right?
Yeah.
They put the heart in a little box in ice, and they put it in a helicopter somewhere.
Yeah.
And it's still able to be, put into the host recipient, right? So.
And certainly there are, the definition of death is quite difficult even for doctors, right?
It's true.
You declare a time of death, but it's really not a yes or no answer.
Right. That's true.
People have had lack of oxygen to the brain for minutes and come back.
Right.
Sometimes not all the same, but
It's true.
So interesting.
Good reference though, Game of Thrones as well.
Oh, the reference to Game of Thrones bringing the brain back?
Oh yeah, you know what I'm talking about.
A little reanimation.
Yeah, a little reanimation.
We won't spoil it for you.
One of the characters.
He's not
going to watch it. But a character, I'll say a character was poisoned. And presumed dead, and has come back.
Oh.
I won't say any names or who it is or anything like that. But
was this a big sort of dramatic thing, or was it like, oh, here he is, hey, welcome back, Joe?
It was interesting because he died.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay, good. We didn't really like him anyway, so he's dead.
Good.
But then you hear of some experiments happening, right, kind of offhand, and then all of a sudden this thing shows up, and you're like, that's interesting.
Oh, interesting.
And not the only character who has come back from something.
Ooh, fair enough. So that is true.
Big theme in the show.
That's true. I was thinking of someone specifically because of the whole zombie type.
Yeah.
But you're right. There are a few other characters who have also come back from the dead.
It reminds me a little bit of there was this show long ago that you guys may not have seen. I wasn't watching either. Dallas. Do you remember Dallas, the show?
Yeah.
And Dallas.
That's like my mom's favorite show.
I know,
like
right?
Nighttime
so
soap
Dallas
opera.
was a nighttime
Who killed
soap.
JR?
Yes, the big question, right? So supposedly the big star that everyone liked, I don't know who he is, JR, and they're like, oh my God, he got shot. There was like the big talk about
everyone was like, shot. No one died.
Who shot him? Who shot him? I have no idea who shot him. I have no idea.
He didn't die though, right?
I don't think so.
Yeah, that's
Someone
because
just shot
back then
him.
there was like 4 shows on television.
Yeah, exactly.
That's
It's true. It is true.
It was like CBS
I know,
late night.
I know.
It was like all the rage.
So that was like the big outrage at the time. That just made me think of all these.
And it was a season. I think it was a season-ending one, right? So everyone had the whole summer to be like, "Oh my God!"
I know. Can you believe it?
Your TV guide was blowing up
That's right.
with all these conspiracy
Now I understand
theories.
why he doesn't catch up on Game of Thrones.
Exactly.
Far too busy watching Dallas.
Yeah.
Dallas and MASH.
Yeah. There you go.
Okay. Did you have another story?
That's it.
How's the beer?
Very good.
Good. Very good.
Refreshing, crisp.
I have one more
Green
if you want to talk about it. It's interesting in the sense of we've talked, I believe last week or 2 weeks ago, about how there are now like a crazy amount of tech unicorns out there in the world. I forget what the exact number was. We talked about it on On-Tech. But I found that one of those unicorns, Pinterest, is going to IPO.
The IPO today.
The IPO today.
So did Zoom.
$19 a share.
Oh.
It went up.
What was the open?
It opened at 19.
And what was the IPO price? Do we know? Thank you. 15 to 17.
No, it was proposed 15 to 17, but it opened
at 19.
Yeah, it opened over 20.
Oh,
24.
Nice.
And there's a whole debate now because we've seen some unicorns like Lyft and Zoom come out. Well, Lyft came out and they're getting hammered, right? Their IPO price down like 20% from when they IPO'd, from now down to like 56.50 when it was started at 72. And they had IPO'd at the end of March. But Zoom also came out as well, and their prices were also above the proposed price. So they proposed at 36, and they came out a little bit higher as well. But now there's a question about, okay, is there going to be fatigue from all these unicorns IPOing? Is it going to have negative effect? Are they going to cancel each other out and have a negative effect? What does it all mean, et cetera, et cetera?
I mean, out of those, Zoom is actually making money where Pinterest isn't.
Okay.
Geo is a big investor.
This is kind of what happened around 2008, 2007, right? Like,
Oh, I hope not.
I
The
know.
bubble?
yeah, right.
You think the
We know
bubble's going to
All
burst?
these, like, massive companies, or like internet startups, I should say, right, coming out that were
Right.
backed by massive companies, and they'd come out and they'd tank after their IPO.
Right.
Yeah, I agree. So it's interesting to see what's going to happen.
Well, it's always the first day. You never know, but maybe we'll come back next week and check that price and
There you go.
see where they're at.
There you go.
I agree.
Let's hope they're doing good.
So I've got one final story, and it's related to a frequent topic of conversation here, of which
Beer?
Murph has a particularly noteworthy position because he's got a new one.
Well, that's many
phones.
You got your phone?
Phones. We talk about phones.
What'd you get?
I got the Galaxy S10.
Cool.
Nice
Pretty
phone.
cool.
It's
So
pretty sweet.
the news this week was on phone front, which I thought was interesting, is that for those who don't know, there's the Apple phone, the iPhone has a whole bunch of chips in it, but one of the most important ones is like the radios that's predominantly developed largely by Qualcomm, although Intel does it too. And there's been an ongoing lawsuit forever between Apple and Qualcomm because they say Qualcomm is charging too much for these chips. And so because of that, they go to Intel, and Intel, because they don't have the same experience Qualcomm does, doesn't sell chips that are as good.
Yeah.
So it was all coming to fruition this week. There was supposed to be like a big lawsuit where they were going to get out there and they're going to say, you owe me this and you're charging me too much for that. And all of a sudden, they settled. And as a side effect of the settlement, I thought was interesting, is that Intel, right after the settlement, said, we're done. We're not making any more 5G cell phone modems. We're done. We're only making them for like routers and
I read
things.
about that story.
So it's interesting in that not only do these two companies settle, but with the settlement between Apple and Qualcomm, they've changed the market dynamics because effectively the Qualcomm position of sort of the leader, if not the monopolist, has been reinforced because their biggest competitor just quit.
Yep.
So that's like a really big deal.
So you're expecting your price of phone to go up in the future?
I mean, maybe. Who knows? Who
They don't
knows?
go down, do they?
No, they never
do
go
not
down.
go down. Another phone, I think everyone who has bought the folding glass
Oh, right.
phones, they're all breaking.
They are. The Galaxy F is
All the
breaking.
Galaxy phones are breaking.
I know.
The old ones.
The interesting history.
I'm not surprised.
I know it's true.
Like, I mean,
How much was that? $18.
$2,000.
$1,000. Yeah.
But we'll see. That's the sample
It's like-
phones.
yeah.
But God help people who bought them. I hope they don't have that problem if you actually purchased it in your own money, versus getting a loaner phone from Samsung. But the interesting thing about Qualcomm is that, so I used to work in the financial industry, and I used to follow a bunch of companies. At the time, Qualcomm was just starting out. And Qualcomm was very iffy. They had this technology, CDMA, and it was some question about who would adopt it and where would it go. And they basically bet all in on CDMA. If CDMA didn't happen, they would have been basically out of business.
Right.
But effectively it did. I mean,
out for them.
it worked out huge for them, and that's why all the patents and all this stuff. So it's been a huge success, but they weren't always like that. So I give them some respect, credit that they were able to really invest in that, do the selling to get primarily Verizon and Sprint were the two CDMA users. And even that CDMA technology, I think, has gotten into the other carriers as well, which is why Apple wants it so badly. So it's just interesting. So that's
Make
what I
a
had.
bunch of other chips too. I think they probably
They are.
make up most of them.
You're right.
I've got my phone, so
Yeah, you're right.
Thanks.
They make a lot of stuff, right? They make the primary CPU for all of our phones,
Yep.
largely.
I think they make the new ultrasonic
they?
fingerprint reader as well.
I didn't know that. Yeah, so they're doing it. Let's see. Do I have any other stories? One other story I had was the Strato launcher. Anyone know what the Strato launcher is? Anyone? Anyone know who Burt Rutan is? Corey Rutan's
The Game of Thrones character.
Yeah, exactly. It's a famous guy who founded a company called Scaled Composites. He built that plane that flew around the world without. It wasn't without landing. What was it? Was it without landing?
Without refueling?
Without refueling. Without refueling. But the point is that he's really into composites. And so he built the largest airplane ever that flew for the first time this week. Yeah. And so it looks like this thing that has two big sort of fuselages with big wings. And the idea is it's a platform for launching rockets into space. Huh. So you put the rocket on the middle, you fly up, and the rocket takes off from there. But the initial maiden voyage of this massive thing, which is, as again I said, the Strato launcher, was this week.
Did it work?
It worked.
Ah.
It worked.
Did they launch a rocket, or they just fly?
No, they're just flying it around at low speed as they sort of get the handling characteristics down. But overall, I guess the feedback was very positive on the Strato launcher's maiden voyage.
Okay.
Kind of cool, though. That's what I have.
Very good.
Follow up to a story we did a while ago about the plane crashes that happened. Remember they had the Boeing Max 737.
Oh gosh, yes.
So
terrible.
Basically, we talked about there's a part of the software that helps the plane from dipping, right? And they think that's the issue with why those planes crash.
What's the software issue?
Yeah, they had the.
Well, no, but it wasn't the software. It was. I mean, the software caused it to dip, but the software did that because of bad readings from bad sensors. Right. Yeah. And that's the problem, really. Like the software is too strong.
I guess the software was doing its job, but the sensors were
broken. And the software should have been smarter so that it didn't overreact when one sensor goes haywire.
Right.
But it didn't seem like it did. It was terrible.
Didn't work.
It's a terrible situation.
Yeah, really sucks.
On that positive.
I know, really. I know, gosh.
You,
well, we enjoyed Lawson's The Space in Between. We recommend it, right?
Now, is it
kind of hoppy?
Was it an unfiltered ale? What was it?
Yeah, it's just
straight from the green mountains to your head. It says
pale ale, IPA, American IPA.
It says an ale. It doesn't have that. It's a mysterious.
Not call it an IPA.
No.
I would say it's more of like a golden ale.
Okay.
So it's good.
I can't drink it, so I'm just trying to get the 4-1.
Well, but you can soon. Come Sunday.
Soon. Easter is on Sunday.
We'll see.
What is your first beer you're going to drink?
Ooh, great question. So it's going to be at midnight on Sunday.
Okay.
I'm going to stay up for it.
Perfect.
Wait, you have to wait till midnight?
Well, Sunday.
What time did Jesus rise?
Saturday, 11:59.
I see. Sunday morning.
Sunday midnight. So like midnight Sunday morning. So
what will it be?
I think it's going to be a Treehouse Curiosity.
Yeah.
I think that's what we
60.
Gio keeps telling me to drink Treehouse Curiosity 60, but I also do have I have another half Equilibrium Dream Wave Fluctuation collab that I want to drink.
Stop bragging, Jason.
Stop it.
Nah.
I have so much beer. It's not something to brag about. It's actually pretty bad.
Well, but on the flip side, you said, given the fact that you've stopped drinking beer, you've actually lost weight, right?
Well, a combination of eating better, because like when you drink, you like snack a lot.
Yeah.
So snacks have been significantly decreased.
Good point.
And I have been working out a little more consistently as well. But yeah, I've lost.
Jason, I am shocked that combination results.
Right?
I know.
And not drinking alcohol. Not drinking 300
the TV
calorie.
tells me all I have to do is take a pill and.
I know, exactly.
Yeah, and not drinking 300 calorie IPAs, right?
Very strange.
Yeah. Funny how that works.
Cool.
All right,
everyone. Have a great weekend. We will see you next week. I think the whole gang will be here next week as well, right? You're not away?
I'm not away.
I'm not away. You're not away?
I'll be here.
We'll see you guys all next week. Thanks for attending. And subscribe to that channel, right? Click the button, subscribe.
Mash that.
Mash it, yes.
That's right.
See you later.